What's going on, guys? It's Steve. So, Carmelo Anthony, for the first time in 7 years, 7 years, that's a very, very long time. For the first time in 7 years, will not be, well, most likely won't. He still has a chance, but it's not looking good. Most likely will not be an NBA All-Star. Now, this is where things kind of get conflicted because if you look at it, there are players putting up better stats, but that doesn't mean they're a better player. Let's be real for a second. Like, for example, some people are saying Jabari Parker deserves it more than Carmelo Anthony when that's just completely false. So I understand. I think Giannis deserves it. I think Jimmy deserves it. I think all the starters deserve it. DeRozan, Kyrie, LeBron. I think Isaiah Thomas, even though he's not starting, deserves it. But Melo, in my honest opinion, deserves to be an NBA All-Star. I mean, he's averaging 23, 6, and 3. And I know when you look at it, you're like, okay, those aren't great numbers. It's not great numbers, but I mean, he's playing 33 minutes per game, a career low. He's actually been on a tear lately. I think the last 3 or 4 games, I may be mistaken, the last 3 or 4 games, he's averaging 29 points per game. He's doing his thing right now. And the Knicks, they're starting to get better. Hopefully they can keep it up, the winning and all that other crap. Hopefully they can keep it up. I'm not sure if they can. I think the Knicks and the Pacers towards the end of the season, like after All-Star break, those two teams will pick up because, again, both of these teams, they just had a very weird start to the season. The first half was just weird. Like, for example, the Knicks started off good, top 3 seed, for like almost 2 weeks, and then boom, disappeared. The Pacers started off awful, and then boom, the Pacers picked up, and they were, they're in playoff contention now. It's weird the way things are working, right? But it also brings into the fact that, some people don't really pay attention to what's going on in Madison Square Garden. They just follow the hype. For example, Carmelo Anthony, and this happened in 2008, 2009 as well. Carmelo Anthony was not an all-star there. And if you look at his career, throughout his career, from 03 all the way up to 06, he was not an NBA all-star. However, if you look at his stats, they were better than most of the players that were on there, and his team had a better record, and he was making the playoffs. So that doesn't make sense to me that there, and then 2008, 2009, he's not an all-star, and then now he probably won't be an all-star. So I'm making this video to say, if you guys, well, I mean, it's too late, so I can't even sit here and be like, you guys need to vote for Melo, because it's too damn late for that. But I'll sit here and I'll make this video, and I'll say this. Carmelo Anthony deserves to be an NBA All-Star. I don't know what the hell happened with all of his fans. I remember him, LeBron, and KD, and Kobe, and Wade and Bosh, all of them used to always top it at like millions of votes, like 1.4 million, Dwight Howard as well, right? And then same with Melo. And recently, like this year, it's crazy. It was at like 300,000. Like, what the? How do you go from 1.3 million votes to 300,000? Like, people just give up on him. I mean, it's crazy. I know the team isn't doing well, but I mean, it's still Melo. Like, it's like D Wade. He's still D Wade. He's gonna be in the All-Star game, so why can't Melo? And Melo's a better player than D Wade is right now. Even if D Wade, I know people are gonna sit there and be like, oh, that can be debated, but I'll sit there and I'll say this: at this point in time, if D Wade's 35, Melo's 32, 33, who would you pick on your team in the playoffs? And I know people are going to sit there and say, oh, if you look at last year, obviously I would go with D Wade and things like that. Melo hasn't been in the playoffs for 3 years. It's a funny situation, man. It's a very funny situation, and to be honest, it's going to be kind of weird if he's not there. However, I'll say it's a blessing in disguise. Now, I'm going to segue into my next topic. You guys weren't expecting this. You thought I was going to complain the whole video, but no. It's a blessing in disguise for both Carmelo Anthony and Derrick Rose not being an NBA All-Stars. Hopefully Porzingis doesn't make it either. It's a blessing in disguise because it will give the New York Knicks roster, the entire roster, time to rest. This is the biggest stretch of the season. This is where, you have your tiebreakers and all this other. This is where everything counts. You can't lose games that you need to win. For example, the Knicks cannot lose to the Sixers. The Knicks can't be losing to the Mavericks, to the Timberwolves, to those type of teams. You know, the Portland Trailblazers even. I don't know what the hell happened to them. They went from a solid playoff team to irrelevant. It's crazy. You know, but the Knicks, this is the biggest stretch of the year for all teams, right? All teams have to win games. There's no, oh, it's just one game. No, it's no more of that. The beginning of the season's over. Now it's time for the home stretch. This is the bottom of the ninth, you know? So it's a blessing in disguise because the Knicks get a week off to rest. So they can go on vacation or whatever. If you look at what happened with LeBron after he lost to the Dallas Mavericks in 2011, if you sit there and look at the interview, he disappeared for a week. He didn't talk to anyone for a week and just let his thoughts, and cleared his mind, right? So if Melo can do the same thing this week, it is a good thing. Because I guarantee you, Melo's going to go from averaging 23, 6, and 3. And remember, his last 3 or 4 games, I think it's like 29 points per game, 27 points per game, something like that. He's going to go from that to averaging around 26 points per game during this last stretch. And I guarantee you the Knicks are going to start winning games, and they're going to finish probably not top 3, top 2 like I thought in the beginning of the year, but 4, 5, or 6 around there. And the same with the Pacers. It's a blessing in disguise for both Indiana Pacers and the Knicks, because the same thing with Paul George. But again, this video is specifically for the New York Knicks, but it's a blessing in disguise that Carmelo Anthony is not going to be an NBA All-Star. I really hope that this team can pull it together with this week off. They have a week off to sit back and just reflect, do what they need to do. My personal opinion, Hornacek has been coaching pretty decently lately. However, I still want him gone. I still want Hornacek gone for the simple fact that his rotations are too unpredictable. They don't make sense at times. Like, for example, we'll be up by 2. He'll bench Melo for 6 minutes in the fourth quarter, or he'll just bench Courtney Lee the entire game. He won't start Courtney Lee. He won't start. It's weird. And it doesn't make sense. It's very weird rotations. Very weird rotations. So I think if we can get rid of him, get another coach, someone that actually knows what they're doing and has a winning record, that would be funny if we actually got George Karl. That would be pretty funny, even though he retired. But, this is a good thing, man. Don't get George Karl. Get a good head coach. And to be honest, what I think the Knicks need, they need to go on a vacation. Everyone needs to separate from each other for a week. Not a week, maybe 3-4 days. Because you see each other all day, every day. It's the same thing all day, every day. You see each other. So they need a break. Melo, go to Rio or something. Chill in your condo in New York or something. Just chill, do what you need to do. And then eventually, when it's time, probably around the Sunday mark on All-Star Weekend. Probably not Sunday. Maybe Friday, Saturday, around there. Get back with the team, start reflecting, talk about the first half of the season, talk to Phil, and then boom, just focus on what's ahead of you. Focus on the future of the franchise. Focus on what's the future for this season. And their goal should not be just to make the playoffs, because this team is good enough to compete and make it to the conference finals. It's going to be hard, but they're good enough. On paper, the Knicks, the Raptors, the Celtics, and the Pacers should all be fighting for the conference finals. They should all be fighting for the conference finals, And obviously the Cavs are the best team in the East, but all 4 of those teams should be fighting for the conference finals. So they just need a huge reflection, and I guarantee you the New York Knicks will come back better than ever. The Indiana Pacers need to do the same thing. I hope Paul George doesn't become an All-Star. I don't think he will. He's not really having a great season. Neither is Melo compared to... Recently, they've been playing better, but neither one of them are having great seasons, And I just want to talk about last night. Carmelo Anthony versus Paul George was a great game. It was a very good game. Melo hit a game winner, unsurprisingly. He's the clutchest player since 2003. I already went over that. He has a higher field goal percentage in the last 24 seconds than LeBron, than KD, than Kobe, than CP3, than anyone. Since 2003. 14 seasons. That's a long time. He's the clutchest player in the last 14 seasons. In the last decade and a half, he's the most clutch player statistically. And this is the guy that people don't want to be in the All-Star game. It's crazy. It's very weird how these things work, man. Very, very strange. But everything will be all right because it's a blessing in disguise. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's been Steve. I'm out. Peace.